The first message popped up late at night, and at first glance it looked harmless. Just another post scrolling by. But then the words hit like a punch to the chest. Single dad life. Not a joke, not a meme, a statement. And the name attached to it stopped fans cold. Jovi Dufren. Married Jovi. 90-day fiancé Jovi. The same guy whose entire storyline was built around being a husband, a father, and a man supposedly trying to grow up. Suddenly, people everywhere were asking the same question in disbelief: why is Jovi calling himself a single dad when Yara is still very much alive, present, and part of his story? And more importantly, what does he know that we don't? Because here's the thing, when a reality star casually drops a phrase like that, it's never casual. It's a signal, and fans felt it immediately. Something was wrong, something was shifting, and whatever it was, it didn't feel like a harmless misunderstanding. It felt like the start of something breaking apart in real time. I know what you're thinking. Maybe people are overreacting. Maybe it was taken out of context. Maybe it was just Jovi being Jovi, joking online, not realizing how deep fans read into every word. I thought that too. I really did. But the deeper you go, the darker it starts to feel. Because this wasn't one comment. It wasn't one post. It was a pattern. And once fans started connecting the dots, the picture that formed was way more unsettling than anyone expected. Before we go any further, let me say this. If you've ever rolled your eyes at celebrity drama or reality TV chaos, I get it. I'm the same way, but sometimes, these stories hit a nerve because they're not just about fame. They're about relationships, power, control, and what happens when two people build a life under a microscope. And if you've been following Jovi and Yara from the beginning, this one hurts. So if you're already invested, or if you want to stay on top of stories like this without the fake headlines and shallow takes, make sure you're subscribed. Not because I'm telling you to, but because you deserve the full story when things start falling apart this publicly. To understand why these single dad claims shocked people so deeply, you have to go back to the beginning. Before the luxury apartments, before the influencer trips, before the baby photos and brand deals. Jovi was introduced as this loud, party-loving guy from Louisiana who lived offshore, made good money, and treated life like one long vacation. Drinking wasn't just a habit, it was his personality. Strippers weren't a secret indulgence, they were practically a hobby. And then there was Yara. Sharp, stylish, emotional, and visibly more serious about the future than he was. From the start, fans worried. Not because they hated Jovi, but because they recognized something familiar. That imbalance. One person trying to build something real, the other still clinging to freedom like it's oxygen. Yara uprooted her entire life for him. New country, new culture, no family, no safety net. And Jovi, he kept working long rotations, disappearing for weeks, leaving her alone in a place that never fully felt like home. Then came the pregnancy, the miscarriage, the heartbreak that changed everything. You could see it on Yara's face. That loss aged her emotionally in ways cameras don't fully capture. For a moment, it seemed like Jovi stepped up. Like fatherhood was finally going to ground him. When the daughter was born, fans breathed a cautious sigh of relief. Maybe this was the turning point. Maybe the partying would slow down. Maybe the marriage would stabilize. But cracks don't disappear just because a baby arrives. Sometimes they get louder. Fast forward through seasons of tension, arguments about strip clubs, drinking, trust, and priorities. Fans watched Yara cry alone more times than they could count. Watched Jovi defend himself instead of listening. Still, they stayed together. Against odds, against internet criticism, against their own obvious unhappiness at times. Which is why these recent, single dad, comments felt like betrayal whiplash. The internet exploded almost instantly. TikTok creators stitched his posts with wide eyes and shaking heads. One comment racked up thousands of likes saying, "Single dad. Since when did Yara disappear?" On Twitter, now X, fans weren't holding back. "Calling yourself a single dad while your wife is alive is wild behavior," one person wrote. Another said, "This is emotional manipulation in real time." Instagram comment sections turned messy fast. Some people defended him, claiming maybe he meant emotionally single or physically alone while working. Others weren't buying it. Words matter, someone snapped. Especially when you have millions watching. Reddit, of course, went full detective mode. Old clips resurfaced. Past interviews were reanalyzed. Fans started asking if this was soft launching a separation. Or worse, rewriting the narrative before Yara could speak. But here's the part nobody was ready for. This wasn't just about a phrase. It was about timing. Around the same time these single dad claims surfaced, fans noticed something else. Yara was quieter, less present, fewer couple photos, more solo content, more time overseas, and suddenly, Jovi positioning himself as the lone parent started to feel strategic, not accidental. This is where the first emotional layer peels back. The public image layer. Jovi has always cared about how he's seen. The fun guy, the provider, the dad who works hard and misses his kid. By framing himself as a single dad, intentionally or not, he immediately earns sympathy. It paints him as the one carrying the weight, the one showing up, the one left behind, and in the court of public opinion, that matters. The second layer cuts deeper. Emotional abandonment. Even if a marriage isn't officially over, language like that sends a message. To fans, yes, but more importantly, to your partner. Imagine being Yara, scrolling and seeing the father of your child imply he's alone in this. That you're absent, that you don't count, that kind of public erasure hurts more than any argument behind closed doors. The third layer is control of the narrative. Reality TV relationships don't end quietly. There are contracts, storylines, interviews, spin-offs. Whoever speaks first often controls the story. By hinting at being a single dad, without explaining, Jovi plants a seed. If things come out later, he can say, "I told you so." And Yara, she's left reacting instead of leading. The fourth layer is the emotional toll on fans. People invested years into this relationship. They defended it. They argued about it. They rooted for it. And now they're being asked to accept a version of events that feels incomplete at best and dishonest at worst. Fans feel manipulated, and when that happens, trust breaks fast. But the fifth layer, the one that really hits hard, is the possibility that this isn't just a metaphor. That behind the scenes, something already ended. That the marriage might be emotionally over, even if legally it's still intact. And that Jovi knows it. I know what you're thinking. Why wouldn't he just say it then? Why not be honest? Because honesty is messy. Honesty invites questions you can't control. Honesty means admitting failure, and for someone whose entire public identity is built on being the guy who has it together, that's terrifying. So instead, you drop hints. You test reactions. You see how people respond to the idea of you being alone. You measure sympathy, and if the response is soft enough, you keep going. What hurts the most in all of this is the silence between them. No joint statement, no clarification, no reassurance, just vague posts and louder speculation. And every day that passes without clarity makes that single dad label feel heavier and more intentional. Fans keep asking the same questions over and over. Are they separated? Did something happen we don't know about? Is this about custody? Is this about control? Or is it simply emotional immaturity playing out on a massive stage? And maybe the real question is this. If you're still married, if you're still a family, why choose words that fracture instead of heal? Why choose language that centers yourself while erasing your partner? Because once those words are out there, you can't take them back. Screenshots live forever, and so does the hurt attached to them. At the end of the day, this isn't about canceling Jovi or blindly defending Yara. It's about accountability. It's about recognizing that public figures don't get to casually rewrite reality without consequences. Especially when a child is involved. Especially when millions are watching and learning what love is supposed to look like. So I want to ask you, if your partner publicly called themselves a single parent, while you were still in their life, how would that make you feel? Would you brush it off? Or would it feel like a quiet goodbye you never agreed to? Because sometimes, the loudest breakups don't come with announcements. They come with a few careless words, and a whole lot of silence after. And whatever the truth is here, one thing is clear. This story isn't over, not even close.